Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, it's time for some updates. My first update will be the fish tank pot. Let's take a closer look. I'll first go over to the left side of the fish tank pot, and you'll notice that all the trees are doing pretty well. Even the one we thought was gonna not make it back there is doing okay as well. So they came back, we got some new growth here, we got some new growth down there. If we look at the trees off to the side here, there's some new growth down here. And then all the nice branching here that's starting to develop here, all these little leaves, new growth. So the left side of the forest is looking pretty good. Stand strong. The back tree on the right got a little bit of a discoloration on some of the leaves, but it seems to be doing really well. Got the fisherman still down there. I'm still waiting for my hiker. I might be getting that as a birthday present, so we got to hold off a little bit longer. We're going to put a hiker up here. And then the 5 trunk specimen. I do have a rock down here that it's growing around, but this is the 5 trunks that grew. Those suckers that grew up from the one plant that didn't do so well. And then the only one that died is the one up front. I had some concerns about this one. This one that was critter chopped pretty heavily. And so we just put it in here. And you know, right now, it's just a dead tree. Just like the one that fell in the river. So trees die. So I've left it in there right now. Haven't done anything with it. We see some fish swimming around in there. So I did discuss before, a while back, that because I have such a powerful grow light, the algae grows underneath in the fish tank part very, very rapidly. So I've scraped off some of the rocks. I also added some little plants in there. But look at how swelling they are with the algae as well. It's kind of suffocating them a little bit. So we have the ember tetras in there. There is one cory still in there, and I have not seen the shrimp since that first week. Yeah, haven't seen them. But it's looking pretty good in the fish tank pot. The next update is on top of the other fish tank with the big bonsai homemade pot that I've had a lot of cuttings in. We took them all out and put them into individual pots. So there you can see everything is still alive. Even the one that I was a little worried about, that was very weak, not much growth, has sprouted some new leaves and bigger leaves, and that one's doing okay. We got the big long pot up here that has the brush cherries in them. I thought this one died off completely, but we cut off this secondary trunk here, and we still have some new growth right there. Super nice. So everything's growing up on top in their individual pots. They seem to be loving life. It's the update show of the plant room, and I don't think I've ever actually showed this Jade, so I thought I would show this one, so not as an update, but a little bit of trimming. Since I'm down in the plant room, and it's about a week before I can consider taking out my tropicals. Yes, did you hear that right? About a week away. So we are in the middle of a stretch in April here that we're getting snow about every other day, it seems. The highs this week were in the 30s after a 60-degree Sunday, Monday. 40s on Tuesday, 30s, 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 30 tomorrow, maybe 40. But the lows at night into the low 20s, not good. By next weekend, we could hit 70, and the lows might stay above 40 for a week straight. Do we do the bonsai shuffle? Do we do the dance? Do I take them out? Oh, we so want to take them out because we're halfway through April already. So this jade was a really nice split trunk jade that I've had for a while, and it just really took off this year in the plant room because I didn't do anything with it. But before I bring it outside, it's got really big leaves, and it's going to go outside, and then we always have the risk of burning the leaves, right? So what I'm going to do with about a week or two before I can take these outside is I'm going to trim some of my trees up, so when they go outside they'll have that new growth with the smaller leaves, because inside here with the artificial lighting we get the longer inner nodes. We have leaves that are typically bigger. They're reaching up for those lights that are not nearly as powerful as the sun. So we'll put these out in the shade for a good week or two, and then they're going to get all their new growth with small leaves. So we can go ahead and prune up some of these one more time, let them sit in the plant room for about another week or so, and then we'll take them outside and they'll be just ready to shoot out some new growth. So I'm going to go ahead and take a little trim to this guy. So this splits right down here, splits into two here as it does here, and then up here it just grows forever and ever and ever. So we're going to go ahead, there's a lot of aerial roots trying to grow right here. We're just going to cut that off. We might be able to put that in as a planting. We're going to cut this one off right there. We're going to cut this lower one off. And then I don't know if there's a front to this tree yet, so I'll hold off on that. So this one is starting to lean in a really interesting, funky way. So we're going to let this one grow out a little bit here. And we're going to go ahead and cut these big branches off, or leaves off here in the back. Cut this one off here, because it's got two new buds right there. We'll cut these inside ones out because they're struggling for attention. We'll cut this one off, this inside one off, and then this big one and this big, we'll just cut this one off as well. Big, huge leaves. So then this will grow outside again this year. It'll shoot back up and it'll thicken up that trunk some more. The bottom of the trunk, where it splits, looking okay at the moment. I got some little growth right here. I'm just going to clean this all up so it can now decide where it wants to shoot out growth when it hits the outside. I think we'll just cut this one right there. And let's just cut that back right there. So there we have a huge jade cut down just to a few pieces parts. We'll take it outside in a couple weeks. If it's going to stay above 40 degrees, maybe above 50 for these jades, and then we will be good to go. And then this one right here, we can maybe cut off a few leaves. We'll let this harden off. There's already roots right on there though. You see those roots right there? We're just going to stick this into the soil right now, some new soil, and then we'll have a new tree in the works. And there we go. Let's just keep that top leaf on right there. We've got some roots right there. We'll stick that into some soil and we'll be in good shape. So there you go. Kind of an update, but not really because you've never seen the tree before. Let's go grab some more updates. I'm kind of in a cutting kind of mood, so let's go ahead and tackle this Green Island ficus. So this one has all of a sudden done really well here in the last month or so in the plant room and just really shot up this growth. The leaves are a little bit big, but they're also reaching for the light a little bit. We've got a couple branches in here that have died off, but we got some massive growth on this one. I think we haven't cut this one for several months. We'll have to look back at the episodes and I'll put a date that we last worked on this guy.
So the first tree I'm going to work on today is the Green Island ficus that is in the long rectangle pot. I have pruned the Green Island ficus a couple of times, most recently just a few weeks ago, and we're pushing all kinds of new growth, super healthy. We are at the 22nd of August and we have plenty of time for this to recover, do a little growing before we get out or put it back into the plant room. And as we're always looking for that 360-degree radial root pattern, we're going to try to rake these out and see what we've got going here. And we are set to go.
So I've got a dead branch right here that's not doing anything. Right there. Kind of died off right there. We'll just cut that off and maybe some new growth will happen there. So there's the front of this tree. So we have a couple of things growing right out at us. That's one of them. All new growth down here in the plant room. I got another dead branch right here, but there's some new growth right below it. We'll just cut that dead piece off. Here's another piece of a dead branch right here. Goes way back to here. So we're going to cut that off. And that leaves the branch kind of in the middle there, and this is kind of a new leader with a new growth. Has some nice and interesting movement there, and we'll go ahead and cut it back at least to there. And as you can see, when I pull back the leaves, this branch that I have is the new leader right here. They just cut on has a new growth right there and some new growth right here. Right there. There's some new growth, so that could be another leader if I don't want it to go to an angle too much. So we're going to cut it back even further right there. We'll leave that other growth on there for now. If you look at the back of that branch back here, we've got this one right here. We'll leave just all that alone. We've got this one growing kind of funky. We'll just cut that off. There's one growing down right here. And there's a dead branch next to it right there. Oops! Oh, I cut a whole branch off. I did not see that coming. Woo! My blade went a little too far. Let's see the damage we created. Oh, not too bad. Not too bad at all. That's one of those cuts that you might not have enough guts to do. And now that I did it, I'm going to take this bottom one off back here. And then we'll just leave those two grow now. So we have thick trunk, it splits here and then it gets thinner here, and we'll let these grow up and see what happens. I'm going to take this big leaf off, and I'm going to leave that one on. So now we have this side of the tree and that side of the tree. So this side of the tree, as you're looking at it from the front, has all this growth right here. It's all new growth. It's got this really big long section that took off this winter in here as well. And because these all cross each other and are kind of messy right here, here's the back of that. These two are kind of messy. I'm going to cut this one off because it's growing towards us and kind of covering up that branch. And I have a new branch growing right there. So I'll cut that one off. That could become a cutting. Then you see how I have two of these competing. I still like the original branch better. So I will go ahead and cut this inside one off. And then I still have these growing. Cut off this great big leaf right here. Cut off this great big leaf right here. We're going to trim this one down. And I will cut this part that's growing towards us here. So there's from the front. It's kind of big. These leaves down here will take over, so let's go ahead and cut it shorter. Cut this one more shorter. And I've got all this growth right here now, but again, it's growing right towards you folks. So I don't like this, and this is too low. There we go. And we'll leave this one for the time being. It's growing in the inside of the tree, but we're really cutting this guy up, so we're just going to wait. But all of this will shoot out some new buds too now that it's opened up and there's a lot of light cone in here. Getting some leaves from not overlapping each other here. Okay, now we have the other side left. My right, your left. And we got this new branch right here. And the original one. Well, there's a nice curve to the branch, but there's not a very great taper, but then it moves all kind of funky up in here. I'll turn this tree around here. Look at that. See, it comes up and over and down. Does all that get too close to us here? Oh boy. I'm not sure what to do with all that, but these two cross, the brand new one plus this one right here. There's There's a nice branch growing out right on the back side right there. That could be a really nice branch one day. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut off this one. It's old. It's real thick and coarse up there. Had some nice branching on there. And we'll keep this right here. Cut off this inside and inside. And I've got a bud right back there that'll probably, we hope will take off and do okay. Plus I'm going to leave this one on for the time being. And we just chopped this one up. So this will recover a little bit here in the plant room. Start doing some initial bud shoot out. And if it doesn't shoot out any new buds, I'll put it in the shade outside. And the shade outside will be better than the light here inside. And it'll just wake up and hopefully give us a whole bunch of new shoots and start to love life. There might be a few of the flies on here. I'm going to spray it just in case. So we'll go spray that, and we'll find another tree to trim up. The next update is the Benjamina forest that I cut way back a few months ago. We'll look again at the times and flash the times on when we did this last and give you a quick little before and after here. And it's filling in nicely. So when it gets outside this summer, it's really going to want to take off. So that'll be really nice. I can show you back here. Look at this little guy right there. A nice place for that to grow here on the old wood, the lower part of the trunk. That could be a nice split division there. We can cut this down even shorter and let it grow some more. These two branches on this guy right here really took off. This one's really long. This one back here is getting real long and thick. This is almost all new growth on this real big heavy cutback that we had. So before we send this thing outside, I'm just going to go ahead and just make it a little bit more compact all the way around. We won't burn as many leaves. We won't have the chance to burn leaves if we do this. And we're just going to go ahead and just cut some of these back so they're a little bit shorter. And then it'll be ready for outside. Just a couple of little snips here, nothing major. All right, there we go. Just a little tiny trim. This is going to do some really good growth here when the sun comes out and we get this thing outside. I think it's going to be really lush by the end of the year. You can even see this little branch is still surviving down here. We got a little bit of growth. This tree looks a little bit scraggly back here, so we won't do anything to that one. We'll see if the summer sun does some good stuff to that. And this one's kind of scraggly as well, but we'll see. The three main trees, and this one's still doing okay. So just a little trim here. We got a couple of really big leaves on here, so we can go ahead and get some of these areas where the leaves grow right underneath a branch, and we can go ahead and cut some of these big leaves off. So that kind of helps for the push when we get it outside. So there's the update on the variegated Benjamina forest with all kinds of nice new growth that we can get excited about the outside temps warming up and get this thing growing. Back in the fall, when we took some of our trees in, we did some air layering and cutting off some trees, and this was kind of a stump of a tree that had nothing but one sucker that shot up, and it grew really fast. So we have some photos or video footage of this one that grew really, really big and had a little bit of a swoop to it, and we've just made a few cuts along the way. Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, we're going to get the Premna into its own bonsai pot. It is the day before Thanksgiving, and it's a really good day for me because I get to repot a tree. So a couple things to say. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, whether you're watching this the day of, the day after, or a week after, or even longer if you watch this next year. We're going to repot this the day before Thanksgiving for a couple of reasons. One, my wife is on a couple of errands, so I've got the morning free until some afternoon commitments. And I don't have school today because, well, I'm a teacher, and I think the only profession that might have better hours than bankers would be teachers. And so we have a lot of tree with not as much roots to support it. It is very healthy, very vigorous. We got a lot of little tiny branches trying to shoot out here. So I think we will make it less top heavy and we'll cut it back. We have a hard woody trunk starting to form down here in the bottom inch or so. We're going to at least cut it back to here. That's amazing growth. I think we're going to leave it right there. So this one has shot out a nice side branch here. It's got a nice one up here, and then we got some growth over here. We're just going to go ahead and do the same thing with this guy. We're going to shorten it up right now, so we're going to get ready to go outside. And then we're just going to let it grow, grow, grow. So this is a Premna. And it's got a little bit of a life to it with a little bit of every other action here. We could probably cut this down even further, but we're just going to let this go outside and see what happens with the growth and let it explode. So there is the update on the single sucker that grew up from the old stump of a tree when we did some air layers back several months ago in the late fall, early winter. Time now for the update for the grape log, the grape wood that I turned into a bonsai pot. We got a couple layers of shellac on here. So some real good glaze on there, and we have a couple of Melinas over here. We have a Benjamina that we had from the forest over there, and we have a Premna right here. So you can see the Premna has kind of taken off. We did have one tree up front here that died because we had a forest of 5. Now it's an even number, which is kind of a bummer. But we've got this big long growth, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim this one back a little bit. We're just going to get it a little bit back, get those tips going. We're going to cut this tip off here. I'm going to leave that one alone, and I'm going to cut this tip back to there. And so this can continue to grow and fluff out this year. And look at the Benjamina. It's growing up tall. It's got nice division on this tree. Super nice. Look at all these right here, wannabes. There's even one growing way down here. So all I'm going to do with this tree is I'm going to shorten it up right here, right there. And we're going to let it grow out some more this summer. Let this thing really take off. Okay? So that one did really good and loved life down here in the plant room in this new pot. And then we have our Melinas here. Now the Melinas have been pretty finicky. Now it's a new species to me. We introduced them to as a workshop tree this last year in MBS. And I've got some new growth down here though, so I know it back buds on some old wood, even though it's not a very old tree. We have kind of a little bit of a okay top up here. Got some new growth up here that was cut at one point. I think I'm going to cut this one back just a little bit right here. Do I have 2 branches? See, now that's growing right there in this Y of the tree. So, and I got a branch on the back right here growing as well, right in this Y of the tree. So I want to get rid of that one, so we don't have any future bulge right there. And then the decision is, do I keep this new younger branch right here, or do I keep the old one? Because we have 1, 2, and 3. So I'm wondering if I were to take the new, keep the new and get rid of the old. This big thick one does grow towards the back more than the front. So I think I am going to cut that one off in favor of the other branch. So there we go. So now we have this division here. It is a little bit Y-like, but I've got this branch right here that might come up too and provide more of a 3-looking trunk. And it'll take that Y view out just a little bit. So I'm going to cut this leaf off right there that's trying to grow. I'm going to cut off this other one that's kind of right in this Y junction. And there we go. That's all we're going to do for that tree. We're going to see what that does outside. It's a little thick and bushy here that's going to be hidden by these two trees are getting close together, but I just want to see how it's going to survive with the new sun. Of course, we get new sun and it could go like, what? So this one has a lot of growth down here, here, and here. There's some new buds trying right here. I'm going to cut this one off right there. We've got a new bud back right there. And we'll just leave that tree alone. So there's our little update. It is the grape wood with a couple of trees in there, and they're doing just fine. And we're going to get this thing out into the sunlight, hopefully in a couple of weeks. Well, the shade, right? We don't want to burn the leaves. Next, I want to show you some of the Portulacaria Afra cuttings that I took from my last chopping. I put them all into these individual pots, a couple in those, single here, single there. This was a triple trunk that I wanted to see if it would stay alive, and 2 of the trunks perished, but we still have 1 alive. So all of the Portulacaria Afras are doing fine in these pots. There's even one back here. A little bit less light back there. I'm blocking the light right now. There we go. And that one's doing okay as well. The Portulacaria cuttings on this outside bench seem to be happy and sprouting up some growth. Alrighty, well there you have it. It's the plant room update show. There's a few other miscellaneous things here that I might putz with, but I got all the stuff that I wanted to get on camera, including the fish tank pot, which is now dark. I'm gonna have to make some kind of maybe some cover for the water that I can keep on there a couple hours a day so it doesn't get so green and mucky. But we got all the other trees. Loving life in the plant room pretty well, but they're ready to go outside. I can't wait for about another week and a half, 2 weeks tops. I think we'll get these trees out into some shade, partial sun, and then full sun in May. It's gonna be super exciting to see all these trees grow. So that's gonna do it for another show. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I got some spraying to do and then some rinsing off to do and cleaning up the carnage right over here. The Ode to Jay. Yeah, we got a lot of carnage here, huh? So, hey, take care of you. Take care of your bonsai, and we're going to catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody.